Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. Talk recruiting, Preston. It is that time of the year. LSU's Elite Camp coming up next week, but it's unofficial visit season, and LSU, as you'd expect, is seeing some very, very highly talented recruits over the this 2-3 week span here. Let's go back a little bit before we go forward. I want to talk about Jamie French, who was on campus, DJ Pickett. Those are two really, really highly thought of players that LSU appears to be in a reasonable spot. What can you tell us about those two guys?
Well, I got a chance to speak with Jamie and his mom, and they're high on LSU. They're not willing to go out and name him a leader. I believe he actually. I'll say this: he did have Texas as his number one school, and now he's saying, "I don't know if I have a leader now." So that's a clear and significant step in the right direction for LSU there. What's really interesting is you lose Dakorien Moore. He decommits from you. There's certain recruiting situations where it's about fit, coach, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like Jamie French decommitting from Alabama, that was because Nick Saban retired, very clearly. Dakorien Moore, that kind of doesn't really it doesn't really pass the NIL sniff test to me. I think it is a bit of an NIL situation because we're talking about a kid who has pictures of himself out there on the internet as 8 years old in LSU gloves and uniform. He talks about growing up watching Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, he calls it his dream school, that says he's 1,000% committed. And then despite all that, his actions were taking visits across the country. He was at Ohio State last weekend, which, by the way, while he was in Ohio, I think he got to pop in and see Jamar Chase while he was there, which I'm sure the Buckeyes aren't happy about. But, once you leave campus, you're free to do what you want, I guess. It seemed like to me like it is a situation where money might be involved there. I mean, everybody's throwing all sorts of – he's the number one receiver in the country. But to rebound from that, they were out of it for Dakorien Moore for a while. Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton went and took an in-home visit, got him back in it, got him to take this official visit, which he's currently on campus for, actually. And they're pushing real hard to get back in it. So to rebound from that, not only do you get him back on your campus and back in it, but you bring in Jamie French, who's number 4 receiver in the country, and Khalil Lockett, who was also here, had a great official visit last weekend. So Khalil Lockett's the number 2 receiver in the country. So you've got, of the top 4 receivers in the country, LSU's got 3 of them on campus for official visits. They are not messing around when it comes to receiver.
No question about that. Also, last weekend, DJ Pickett, a big-time defensive back, appears to be a big-time LSU target. What do you know about that recruitment?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who was not even on LSU's radar in the slightest until they hired Corey Raymond. Corey Raymond had been recruiting him at Florida, although Florida wasn't front-runner for him. Clearly liked him. Well, as soon as he comes in, all of a sudden, DJ Pickett, and we're talking about a 5-star corner, highly interested, big-bodied guy, too, by the way, about 6'2", 6'3". This is a guy who could come in and be an immediate impact. We're talking very good player. And LSU's been all over him. I really do think LSU's the team to beat. Most of these guys, it's a recurring pattern. A lot of these guys are taking their summer circuits, going to their camps, seeing their teams, and before their football season starts, making a commitment. We're seeing a lot of late June, early August commitment dates being set, including Jamie French, who has his set for August 10th. But that's kind of the nature of the new college football we're in. Now we've kind of seen a recurring pattern where players aren't waiting till February anymore. They are signing in December, enrolling in January, and all before that is their senior football season where they want to lock in and focus. So we're seeing that more and more. I'm sure we'll see that with DJ Pickett, and I feel really good about LSU's position on DJ Pickett.
As far as Pickett goes, I mean, there was a time when Corey Raymond was here where, of course, you're going to do very well with your Derek Stingleys and Tre'Davious Whites and those guys that are from the state. But there was a time where LSU, whether it was Kevin Tolliver was a top 5 defensive back, Grant Delpit, Jamal Adams out of state, Eli Ricks out of state, like they were going to get a top 5 national DB just about every year. Do you expect LSU to be back in that mix now that Corey's here?
Well, that's where they were last time he was here. The problem as his career ended was not getting them to come to campus, getting them to stay on campus and stay healthy. I mean, my goodness, man, look at those 2021, 2022 years where none of those guys were around. I do expect LSU's recruiting to be elevated. Corey Raymond went on a run of recruiting top defensive backs right before things went south, right after that national championship. Think about Stingley and all the guys you were just naming. I expect it'll be much improved in recruiting. The real issue is going to be getting these guys on the field, staying on the field, staying healthy, staying eligible, all that stuff. And that's why you bring in a coach like a Brian Kelly who has a better history of roster management than Orgeron had. I mean, obviously, seeing his final 2 years, that really wasn't saying much. But ideally, yeah, you can partner recruiting with roster management and get a lot more talent and get LSU back on track where they were before things went down in the Orgeron tenure.
No question about it. Damian Shanklin was on campus as well, a big-time edge rusher from Indianapolis. I talked about him a little bit earlier in the week, but what can you tell us there?
Yeah, from Indianapolis, big-time guy, 6'4", 230, four-star recruit. We're talking about a kid they really like. A lot of experts are weighing in now saying they expect him to end up at LSU. He really liked his visit from all reports. I think that him and a couple other guys, I look at Dylan Battle as a defensive tackle out of Lufkin, Texas, like him a lot to possibly put the Tigers high. I think Damian Shanklin's a guy who most LSU experts feel pretty good about right now. And these guys you need to restore this defensive line in a big way.
Let's circle all the way back around to Dakorien Moore, who, as you mentioned, is on campus. He's had a wild ride that has included a commitment to LSU, then a decommitment, and they weren't on his list. Now they are on his list. Now they are getting an official visit. Are you following this closely? Should Tiger fans, or is this one that you think they're probably on the outside looking in?
LSU's definitely in it, which they weren't when he decommitted. They weren't in it. I'll tell you what gives me pause about this. I think for him to pick LSU, it's probably likely going to be a situation where it costs him money, which people do make business decisions in life. People will take pay cuts in life because it's something they like. Hey, maybe you relate. I think most people in sports media probably took a pay cut because they enjoy what they do. And maybe that's a situation where he can, but we're talking about a guy who's being recruited by the likes of Texas and Ohio State. I mean, we're talking about schools with massive NIL funds, and LSU's got a good, not great NIL fund, one that certainly helps LSU because, they can pull in local kids. I think the local talent feed is really what gives LSU an advantage in recruiting, not NIL dollars. But I will say I do believe I don't think LSU can beat those teams in a bidding war, and I don't think LSU wants to. Brian Kelly has shown that, yeah, we're willing to get players their market value, but we're not going to sit here and overpay for a guy. We're just not going to empty our fund and lose out on other players for one player we think is good. And, we see how recruits turn out sometimes. I mean, oftentimes these 5 stars come to campus and whatever plays out, and next thing you know, you've got an Eli Ricks on your hand. Very talented, just didn't really pan out on the field. So I don't think LSU's going to win a bidding war, and that gives me pause. So it has to be him deciding LSU's going to take good care of me, not the best care of me, but that's where I want to be. And we'll see if that happens. I'll tell you what, that quarterback they committed certainly helps pull in talented receivers.
Bryce Underwood, he's quite an asset to the LSU recruiting effort right this minute. It's one of the easier interviews I've ever done because Preston sent me a full list of everybody that's visited in the last 3 weeks, and we just kind of went down and checked them all off. Preston, tell everybody where they can find that and what y'all got coming out at tigerbait.com.
Yeah, guys, Mike Scarborough is working super hard. That's our site owner. He's all over it. We've got a nice list of all the official visits set for 2025, which of course started in May 31st. And we're going to be going on all through football season, all through summer. If you want to check out that list, it's all available where there's way more names than we can name right now on radio. I think you'd all be bored to sleep maybe, but maybe you want to read it. So go to tigerbait.com where it's available for all of our subscribers in the Tiger Den forum.
Have a great rest of your weekend, Preston. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, Hunt. Take it easy.
Preston Guy, beat writer over at tigerbait.com. He and Mike Scarborough got you covered on the recruiting front. As he mentioned, he talked to Jamie Frentz earlier this week, who just wrapped up an official visit to LSU. Tigers are very much trying to close the deal on that high-profile wide receiver, and he's not alone. There are a lot of really, really good players that LSU is in the mix on this 2025 signing class. Is one that's going to be really star-studded, and they're trying to fill it out here in these summer months. They got you covered over there at tigerbait.com. And we'll talk to Preston every Friday moving forward. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.